Hello everyone, myself Kavita Sagar, Assistant Professor, Department of Studies in Botany, Vijayanagara Sri Krishnadevara University, Bellary. Quickly today we'll be discussing about the plant quarantine certification and inspection of diseased plant materials. So what are those regulatory methods in order to control in order to control or manage the diseased the spread of the plant diseases. So basically, this term quarantine means simply 40 days period. So this quarantine term was most aptly commonly referred to the period of detention of ships arriving from countries subject to epidemic disease such as the bubonic plague, cholera and yellow fever. So what happened during this quarantine period? The crew and the passengers used to be compelled to remain isolated on board for sufficient period of time to permit the diseases and to develop and to be detected. The only purpose of the health authorities was to establish adequate detention period. Later on, this term quarantine came to be only used for the detention and practices connected with it. So as the time went on passing, the term also got associated from the human disease field to the animal disease field and later on adopted to cover protective methods for the exclusion of pests and diseases. So in strict sense, this plant quarantine refers to holding of plants in isolation until they are believed to be healthy. So now in broader sense, the plant quarantine covers all the aspects of regulation movement of living plants, living plant parts or plant products between politically defined territories or ecologically distinct parts of them. They can also be the intermediate quarantine and also the process of post-entry quarantine, which are used to denote the detention of plants in isolation for inspection during or after arrival at their final destination. So basically, what is the importance of the plant quarantine? So when you go through the several years back, there were laws of too many countries like China, Japan, Holland, even India, Eastern Asia, Sri Lanka, Netherlands, Guinea, Brazil, UK, etc. So what happened? There were a pandemic disease or the disease which was widespread throughout the countries, and there was a heavy loss in the crop yield, and that the complete crop was damaged or destroyed within a very short span. Example to quote here, we can say that the canker, which was caused by two citrus, this caused huge loss in USA, which was introduced from Japan. The losses caused were about 30 million pounds, and where 19.5 million trees were totally destroyed. So another example we can remember here during in the USA. In USA, the disease Dutch elm, which was the host caused to disease to the elm, this disease came to USA from Holland, and then the loss yield was about $25 million. So again, the powdery mildew, which causes the disease to grapevine, that had come from USA to France, and about 80% there was a loss in wine production during those years. Again, the bunchy top of banana, this disease had come from Sri Lanka to India, and which had the India had to face rupees 4 crores loss during that particular year. So overall, in order to avoid these losses, economic losses, and in order to conserve the most commercial and economic crop plants, this plant quarantining is very much essential. That is, the entry of a single exotic insect or disease and its establishment in the new environment continues to cause great national loss till such time it is brought under effective control. By the time we control it, already we would have lost millions of tons of crops. So in certain cases, a country has to spend a few million rupees before success in controlling the introduced insect pest or the disease is achieved. Just quickly, if we go through the history, the first plant quarantine law was promulgated in Rouen, France in 1860 to suppress and prevent the spread of common barberry, the alternate host of wheat stem rust. And in India, legislative measures against crop pests and diseases was initiated under the Destructive Insects and Pests Act of 1914, that is called DIP Act, Destructive Insects and Pests Act, and this act was passed by the Governor General of India on 3rd of February 1914. So under this act, the rules governing the import and movement of plants and plant materials or insects and fungi are framed. We need to remember here what Destructive Insects and Pests Act of which was introduced in 1914. So this act gives the authorization to the central government to prohibit or regulate the import into India or any part thereof, any specific place therein, of any article of class of articles. And also it authorizes the officers of the customs at every port to operate as the rules under the DIP Act is made under the Sea Customs Act. For instance, we need to remember here, so as I was already talking about the plant diseases which had caused a great loss to that particular area, they came from other countries. So example, Plasmopora viticola, this is a pathogen which causes powdery mildew in grapevine. This was introduced to France from America. This was responsible for the destruction of wine industry of that country until hybridization with resistance. American stock offered a solution. Until a resistant stock was offered by the America, this country was under huge loss. So again, the blight disease of chestnut. The pathogen is Endothea parasitica. This was introduced from Asia into USA in 1904, which completely wiped out the chestnut trees in 1904. So this Hamelia vasterix, this causes coffee rust. So this coffee rust was introduced from Sri Lanka into India in 1879, and now it is even spread to all our coffee growing areas throughout the India. So another example we need to remember here is late blight of potato, which was introduced into India from Europe in 1889. Now it is also present in many parts of the country. There are several things, there are several diseases which has caused huge economic loss to that country in that particular year. So basically there are several fundamental requisites in order to regulate the plant quarantine. Fundamental prerequisites of plant quarantine. The establishment of plant quarantine regulation should rest on the following fundamental prerequisites. The first prerequisite or the condition is criteria is the pest or a disease under consideration must be one that will offer actual or expected threats to the substantial interest. That means it should be a threat to agriculture and or the commercial area. Second prerequisite is the quarantine regulation or degree must represent a measure for which no substitute action involving less interference with normal activities is available. And of course, despite every precaution of inspection, certification and treatment, it is not always possible to guarantee that a consignment is completed free from pathogens. In such doubtful cases, it is advisable to subject the plants to a period of growth in isolation under strict supervision in the importing countries. So there comes the regulatory body, International Plant Protection Convention. So this International Plant Protection Convention, this was the first effort towards international agreement on plant protection, which was made in 1914 under the auspices of International Institute of Agriculture in Rome, and this was followed by an International Convention of Plant Protection over by 50 members, of the institute in 1919, and certain agreements regarding the issue and acceptance of phytosanitary certificates were also finalized during this convention at in 1919. So what happens in this project? This project received a setback due to Second World War and was later on revived by the FAO. So in post-war period, international action plan in plant protection and particularly in plant quarantine was encouraged by FAO with establishment in 1915 of the International Plant Protection Convention. International Plant Protection Convention was established in 1951. So this agreement was constituted with the purpose of securing common and effective action to prevent the introduction and spread of pests and diseases of plants and plant products, as to encourage governments to take all steps necessary to implement its prevention. So these are the following regional plant protection organization which are now operating in throughout the world, of which EPPO is one of the plant protection organization, the European and Mediterranean Plant Protection Organization. Next, another organization is the Inter-African Phytosanitary Council, IAPSC, Orgasmo International Regional de Sanidad Agropecuario, OIRSA. Another organization, the Plant Protection Committee for the Southeast Asia and Pacific region. Another organization, Committee Interamericano de Protección Agrícola, CIPA. And CPPC is another organization, the Caribbean Plant Protection Commission. And another thing, the North American Plant Protection Organization, that is NAPO. So we need to know about what the Article 3 of this International Plant Protection Convention says. There are several articles, of which Article 3 is one of the important thing where we need to concentrate on. So under this article, under the Plant Protection Agreement for Southeast Asia and Pacific region was sponsored by FAO in 1956, and India became in party to this agreement in the same year along with the Australia. Sri Lanka, UK, Laos, Netherlands, Indonesia, Portugal, Vietnam were also other countries. So our government agreed to adopt legislative measures specified in the convention for the purpose of securing common and effective action to prevent the introduction and spread of pests and diseases of plants and plant products, and also to promote measures for their control, and also agreed to assume all the responsibilities for the fulfillment within its territory of all requirements under the convention. And also it was agreed that the government shall make provision for an official to establish plant protection organization and to distribute the information within the country regarding the pests and diseases of plants and plant products and the means of the prevention and control. And also it made a provision for research and investigation in the field of plant protection, that is with a revised scheme of agreement in 1979. So now let us quickly look upon what are those methods of plant quarantine. So one is, there are several components of plant quarantine activities. There are a number of plant quarantine methods which are used separately or collectively to prevent or retard the introduction and also establishment of exotic pests and pathogens. The components of the plant quarantine activities goes like this. First one is complete embargoes. So it involves absolute prohibition or exclusion of specified plants and plant products from a country infected or infested with highly destructive pests or diseases that could be transmitted by the plant or plant products under consideration, and against which no effective plant quarantine treatment can be applied or is it not available for application. Second, component is partial embargoes. So partial embargoes is applying when a pest or disease of a quarantine importance to an importing country is known to occur only in well-defined area of the exporting country, and an effectively operating internal plant quarantine service exists that is able to contain the pest or disease within this area. The third component is inspection and treatment at point of origin. So it gives a provision to inspect and treat the disease at the point of origin. It may be at the ports, it may be at the railway stations, etc. So it involves the inspection and treatment of given commodity when it originates from a country where pest or disease of quarantine importance to importing country is known to occur. Next is inspection and certification of plant of origin. So this inspection and certification involves pre-shipment inspection by the importing country in cooperation with the exporting country, and certification in accordance with the quarantine requirements of importing countries are done in this method, inspection and certification. So next thing is inspection at the point of entry. It involves inspection of a plant material immediately upon arrival at the prescribed port of entry, and if necessary subject to treatment before the same is related. So utilization of post-entry quarantine facilities is also another component of plant quarantine methods. So this utilization of plant quarantine facilities involves growing of introduced plant propagating material under isolated or confined conditions. So this plant material can be grown under isolation or within a given confined conditions. So quickly we'll brush up with the methods of plant quarantine. There are several components which the plant quarantine activities involve are complete embargoes, partial embargoes, inspection and treatment of plant at a point of origin, inspection and certification at a point of origin, and inspection at the point of entry. At the point of origin and at the point of entry, at both these points there is inspection and treatment of that plant material is done, and also utilization of post entry. Once the disease plants has entered, which is supposed to be under quarantine, it has a facility to grow the introduced plant propagating material under isolated conditions or under confined conditions. The quarantine regulations again are operative through the Destructive Pests and Insect Act 1944, that is called DIPS Act, DIPS Act 1914. So this has been revised at the time from 1930 to 1956 and amended in 1967 and again in 1992. So under this act, the central government, that is under this DIPS Act, the Destructive Insects and Pests Act 1914, the central government frames rules prescribing the seaports, airports and land frontiers through which plants and specified plant material can enter India, and the manner in which these can be also imported to other countries from India. Again, this DIP Act operates under National Sea Customs Act, and the points of entry are located within the jurisdiction of state. On the advice of central government, the state frames rules for detection, inspection, disinfection and destruction of material if required, and the delegate powers in this regard to concerned authorities with the enforcement of the rules is done under this DIP Act. So usually through this slide you can see here that what are those steps in plant quarantine, how through which what should be done, processes, methods in order to go for quarantining the plant or inspection of plant. Initially what happens, So what happens initially, the application is submitted by the importer or the exporter. Then the application is accepted, the application is registered, a serial number is given to that, and concerned related fee is charged to that application. Later on, next step is that application is sent to plant quarantine section. Then the quarantine officer is assigned to attend that application, and then the examination relating the documents is done by that plant quarantine officer, and then inspection is done at the container terminal, that is called sampling. So during this, after this sampling, if it is passed, the application is passed or it is approved, then they will issue the phytosanitary certificate. Fresh fruits and vegetables are issued immediately at the container terminal. In case if it is suspected, or if it is having suspected that it is having certain diseases, or it is containing some pests or fungi, any type of pathogens, if it is suspected, then samples go for laboratory examination. They will keep it for incubation. They will separate the plants. They will isolate the pathogens, and then they will identify the pathogens. So after this, they will finish all this identification process, and the report is sent to the quarantine officer. Again, they will examine it, they will verify the report, and they will approve the report. Finally, they issue the phytosanitary certificate or notification of rejection. Then under this process of notification of rejection or issuing of phytosanitary certificate, they will pass that certificate, they will pass that order, and the release of they will release the cargo. Then disinfection and disinfestations treatment is done to that cargo, and that cargo to be returned to the place of origin. Finally, the cargo is destroyed. So this is the brief step of starting from the application to the issuing of the phytosanitary certificate or issuing of notification of rejection certificate. So how to lower the risk of plant diseases? There are certain principles in plant quarantine activities. So these principles are set in order to lower the risk of spread of plant diseases. The first principle is we have to, or there should be always an import from a country where diseases are not recorded earlier, or import from a country with a sufficient plant quarantine service, and also obtain planting material from the safest known source within the selected country, and also obtain an official certificate of freedom from pests and diseases from the exporting countries, that is phytosanitary certificate, and also inspect the material carefully on arrival and treat it. Treatment in the sense, you can also spray it, fumigate it, you can subject it the material for heat treatment, or also you can dust it with the disinfectants, which are very much necessary. So next principle is we need to always take care of importing the safest type of planting material. For example, seeds. Seeds are the safest planting material, which are usually safer than vegetative material, unrooted cuttings than the rooted one. So even the meristem, axenic cultures of meristem proves advantageous. So these are the plant quarantine organizations in India. So in India, two categories of regulatory measures are in operation in order to control the pests, disease or weeds. The first category is to prevent the introduction of exotic pests and diseases into the country or their spread from one state or union territory to another one. Second category of regulatory organization measure is suppression or prevention of spread of pests and diseases in localized areas within a state or a union territories. So this first step derives its authority from DIP Act of the central government, and the second regulatory measure is derived from Agricultural Pests and Diseases Acts of various states. So initially, for all those things, Customs Department was the boss before establishment of DIP, Quarantine and Storage, in 1946 under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. So these are the organizations under which these are the hierarchy of the organized plant quarantine organizations. So this plant in India, so it acts as National Plant Protection Organization, under which which comes under Agriculture Ministry, under the Minister of State of Agriculture. Then it is headed by Secretary, that is Agriculture and Cooperation, and this secretariat is secretary controls the additional secretary, and this additional secretary controls the joint secretary, that is Plant Protection Department, and Plant Protection Advisory to the Government of India is comes under control of Joint Secretary of India. And this Plant Protection Advisory of the Government of India has 4 different operations, that is plant protection, plant quarantine, locust control, and pesticide registration and quality control. These are the 4 departments, or these are the 4 sections where plant protection advisory is acting upon. 4 sections are plant protection, plant quarantine, locust control, and pesticide registration and quality control departments. And basically there are certain conditions of import of any plant material. It may be bulbs, tubers, rhizomes, corms, cuttings, buddings, grafts, layers, roots, flowers, suckers, etc. So there are specific conditions to import all this part of the plants and plant materials, including plant products such as cotton, unmanufactured tobacco, etc. So conditions are all plants should have phytosanitary certificate from the country of origin from which country it has been imported, and all plants will be fumigated, disinfected by the Plant Protection Advisory to the Government of India, and import of hay or straw is strictly prohibited. And another thing which are prohibited are soil, earth, compost, sand, plant debris along with the plant fruit and seed is prohibited, or any material of plant origin used for packing is totally prohibited. So these are the conditions for importing India. The first thing is all the plants which have to come to India should be for having phytosanitary certificate, and all the plant parts should be fumigated, disinfected by Plant Protection Advisor to the Government of India, and import of hay, straw, soil, earth, compost, sand, plant debris along with the plants, fruits and seeds is totally prohibited, or any material of plant origin used for packing is totally strictly prohibited. So these are the agencies involved in plant quarantine in India. First thing is NBPGR, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, New Delhi, which acts under ICAR, Indian Council for Agricultural Research. So NBPGR, New Delhi, it is the regional station for it is having regional stations at Hyderabad and Bengaluru, which is responsible for quarantine clearance of seed and plant material received from international agricultural research centers like ICRISAT, ICARDA, CIMMYT, etc. And this ICRISAT was established in 1972 at Patancheru, which is near Hyderabad now. Second organization is FRI, Forest Research Institute, Dehradun, to inspect forestry plants. And another organization of the agency is Botanical Survey of India, Howrah, Kolkata, that is BSI. So this is meant to inspect or regulate other plants. There are several steps involved in import, quarantine, clearance of seed and propagating material. The first thing is securitization of import application is filled along with the attached documents such as phytosanitary certificate, which should be submitted in original, and a permit, that is importer's copy should be there, shipping bill, invoice, packing list, and customs bill of entry, etc., to ensure the import is in order and no prohibited plant material is being imported. This is first step, that is securitization of import application, completely filled along with the attachment of necessary documents like phytosanitary certificate, permit, shipping bill, invoice, packing list and customs bill of entry. Second step is assessment of inspection fees and registration of application. Third step, inspection and sampling of consignment at port, warehouses or container terminal. Fourth step is detailed laboratory testings like visual inspection, X-ray test, washing test and also fumigation and treatment techniques are used. So visual inspection is nothing but here the samples of seeds or the propagating plant material is examined with the help of illuminated magnifier to record live insect. If any case there is a live insect infestation in that plant material, or if there is a contamination by soil and weed seeds, whether there is a presence of nematode galls or sclerotia or smut or bunt balls, etc. So this is visual inspection with the help of illuminated magnifier is done under detailed laboratory testing. Second detailed laboratory testing is X-ray test. This test is done to detect the hidden insect infestation such as bruchids and weevils that bore into the seed. Next testing is washing test in order to detect the surface bone ooze spores of downy mildew, spot spores, bunt spores, etc. and or even nematode cysts. Finally, fumigation and treatment techniques are also involved under detailed laboratory testings. So let us quickly go through again the steps which are involved in import, quarantine, clearance of seeds and propagating material. In order to quarantine, give the clearance certificate of seed, which is seed and propagating material which has been imported. The steps are, first one is securitization and import application fee. Complete field applications with the relevant documents should be there. Then assessment of inspection fees and registration of the application is done. Then finally, third step is after registration of the application, there goes the inspection and sampling of the consignment at port, warehouses and container terminal, and detailed laboratory testings like visual inspection by using illuminated magnifier and X-ray test in order to detect the hidden insect infestations, and also washing test in order to detect the surface bone ooze spores, and finally fumigation and treatment techniques are also done here. These are several steps which are involved in order to give the quarantine certificate or phytosanitary certificate or clearance of seed and propagating plant materials. So there are several agencies present in India apart from NBPGR, BSI and FRI. There are several agencies which are involved in plant quarantine, and there are several agencies at seaports. There are agencies at airports, and there are also agencies at land frontiers. Several examples to quote the agencies at seaports, that is state or union territories, are at Bhavnagar, Gujarat; Kolkata, West Bengal; Chennai, Tamil Nadu; Cochin, Kerala, and there is a seaport in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and in Nagapattinam in Tamil Nadu, Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu, again Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu, and Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. And the airport agencies which are active now in India are Amritsar in Punjab, Kolkata, West Bengal; Chennai, Tamil Nadu; Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh; Mumbai, Maharashtra; Patna, Bihar; Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu, and in Kerala, that is in Trivandrum, and Varanasi, which is in Uttar Pradesh. So land frontiers agencies in India are that is Amritsar railway station, Punjab; Atari railway station, again in Punjab; and Bangao Benapole border, that is in West Bengal; Gede Road railway station, West Bengal; Kalimpong, West Bengal; Sukhia Pokri, West Bengal. The Government of India has also approved 3 other national institutions to act as official quarantine agencies, especially for research material. That is, I have already told, NBPGR, BSI and FIR. So after doing all this certification test or detailed laboratory testing, then the certificate is issued. That process is called certification. So phytosanitary or health certificate is a certificate which should accompany a plant or a plant material or a seed which is to be moved from one place to another, and this certificate indicates or certifies that the material under transit is free from pests and diseases. And here goes the model certificate of phytosanitary certificate, that is the plant protection organization number will be there of to the address application will be to the plant protection organizations of that particular state or a country, and the next goes a description of consignment and a name and addresses of the exporter, the declared name of the plant, addresses of the consignee, number and description of the how many packages are there, and number of the packages, numbers given to those packages, and any distinguishing marks are there. You need to mention the place of origin and declared by means of conveyance, they declared point of entry, and name of the produce and quantity declared, the botanical name of the plants are also should be there, and finally there is one declaration saying that this is to certify that the plants or plant products described above have been etc. So all these things, this is overall the model of phytosanitary certificate to be issued to any exporter or importer of the plant or plant material. So that is all about in brief the regulatory methods, plant quarantine, certification and inspection of the inspection of plants, disease plants. Thank you.